we'll just move straight to the stories that made the headlines of select newspapers this morning. As is a tradition, we will begin with the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust is still staying with the issue of electricity tariff increase. NLC, CSOs reject electricity tariff hike. Expect power theft, ex-NEC chair says. Hike in gas price, Naira crisis behind decision regulator. You'll find this and more if you open to page 4 of today's Daily Trust. And to other stories, 4 killed in Taraba, Nasarawa as windstorm destroys many houses. And custom worries as CBN hike duty rate 28 times in 3 months. Tinubu signs student loan amendment bill into law. And to other stories, banditry, 289,000 persons displaced in Kaduna. That is coming from an official. And rescue operations ongoing as 9 killed, 800 injured in Taiwan. I mean, the photo montage is there. Yeah. This is a city that we know for so many things. I remember those days. Just about every electronics in Nigeria it comes from Taiwan or Taipei, as we like to recall. But today they are in the news for the devastation that has been occasioned by I think a 6 magnitude earthquake.
In the 25 years, this is the biggest one.
It should be. If you think of how developed every inch space in that city is, then you can imagine the size of the devastation.
I mean, thank goodness they have the emergency services that they have.
You know, well, I don't even want to think about it. A disaster of this magnitude in Nigeria, we are done for. That's what it feels like. We are finding difficult to deal with simple fire markets, market fire. Is it fire market fire or fire market, whatever it's called? I mean, every time they happen, they take out everything. And we supposedly have fighting equipment all around the place. Octogenarian wife killed in Abuja apartment. This is a scary one. And OPEC retains production quota and crude oil prices near $90 per barrel. This is a good one for Nigeria if we manage to keep up with, if we can take out the quantity shock and produce as much as they have access to. Currently, we are struggling to meet that production barrel. But the good thing is we have our budget pegged at $75 per barrel. Now we are doing 98. Means ideally we are shooting in the excess of $15. I hope we are able to do something with the excess. You know, I think we will change our approach a bit this morning and take the papers one after the other and dive to analysis. Okay, well. Let's do more of the papers I have been told. And that's it on the front page of this day newspaper, of Daily Trust newspaper, I beg your pardon.
Let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. 2 million households to pay 225 naira kilowatt per hour as prepaid meter may hit 300,000. Increases in meter prices between 2013 and 2024. And you can see that it's not quite significant, even in that infographic. There are a lot of unmetered electricity users across the country. In other news, transparency, eligibility concerns, unsettle new attempt at student loan scheme. I said this is perhaps going to be the most difficult program to get off the ground for the Tinubu administration. It's already proven to be a mouthful.
Tinubu will probably maybe returning to the assembly again to get
something amended. Tinubu Zulum Bumi mourn NLC ex-leader Ali Chiroma. Federal government decries rising abscondment by varsity teachers. 5 years after USSD debt conflict still unresolved. Okay, 5 years after. Abure reportedly escapes assassination, home gutted by fire. Listen.
Who is chasing
I just reserve my comment. The Labour Party is a mess right now. But let's just get right into it and do what we can with the little time available to us this morning. Join us as always is the ever-present Madam Nasir Lawan, here to opine and also give us inside perspectives regarding some of these developments. Madam Nasir, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on the program as always.
He didn't escape the uncle today somehow.
There is no uncle. This is a very common color. But anyway, it's a good coincidence. Where do we start from? Electricity tariff. Everybody can relate to this one. they're trying to be clever by half. At least that's my understanding of it, by saying that, oh, it's just a specific class of people that will be affected, not everybody. But we all know that that's not how it works, because the implementation is already on. As far as
how can you explain
as we can tell
that a bakery that is located on the band A will sell its output to you cheaper
than what it costs?
What it will cost to produce?
Is this fair in your view? I mean, because the government wants us to believe that this is what is good for business.
Certainly, it's not fair. It's just quite unfortunate that Nigeria, the electricity sector, has continued to defy, solutions. That's solutions that are implementable, that are fair, equitable, and all that. But you are talking about things like Band A, Band B, and what have you. That's like transferring, the inadequacies of the regulatory agencies and the major players in the sector to the people. Because why should I be made to pay higher simply because I enjoy more electricity? If that is the case, why don't you, for instance, I think the Band A is supposed to have between 20 and,
hours,
and then the least 4 to 6 hours. Why don't you strike a middle course so that maybe you can get an average of maybe 11, 12 hours of electricity every day? If people actually know the particular time that they will be having electricity, honestly, they can adjust. But this one that they don't even know when the little 4 or 5 hours will come, probably they are fast asleep, and then you will just
sneak in and out.
So honestly, I don't think this is a good thing to do, because it's like the level of critical thinking that goes into policy formulation in Nigeria. Honestly, there is a big problem, because like I said, why should I be made to pay higher simply because I am on a band that enjoys more electricity when we are part of the same market?
Is there even a guarantee that you're going to keep getting 20 hours? Because if you're under this classification, whether or not you get 20 hours now, it doesn't matter. You're still going to pay as much as 225 naira per kilowatt.
No, I think according to the Electricity Regulatory Commission, what they will be doing, they will use technology to monitor. That's what they said. If within 7 days you are unable to meet that hours, somehow they will reduce the money that you get, so that they can plow it back to the users, because nobody should be charged for something that he did not even enjoy. Because if you are saying 20 hours, it has to be 20 hours. If you are unable to do that, then certainly they should find a way of getting you to pay.
Nigeria, it's a difficult realm to understand, because what you would then begin to see is landlord telling you that your house is in the 20 band area, and so you should pay. Should pay more. But one other area, one other thing, that seemed to be agitating the minds of many is the issue of estimated billings. You know how terrible this practice has been with the disco. It does appear that they are not even interested in metering these people, so that it leaves rooms for this arbitrage that we see, where you go into a building, you probably are not given 2 hours of light in a month, and ask them to pay a very ridiculous amount. Today we are hearing that the meters will cost anywhere around 300,000. That is about the cost of rent for some of this person. What exactly would make a meter cost as much as 300,000 in Nigeria? I mean, we see those devices. What is in this device really that should be worth 300,000?
Well, I think this is one of the reasons why we are where we are now, because how can you charge somebody, up to that amount to do something that, at the end of the day, you will be the one that will benefit from it. And even this one that they are talking about, I have a senior brother that is into tailoring. He has practically moved away from his shop to go and squat somewhere, because he lives in an area where the electricity supply is completely very terrible. And this time of day, the level of the volume of work that they have to do. So honestly, I think this is, like I said, the problem that we are having. The fact that there is estimated billing, whether you consume that electricity or not, they will find a way of getting you to pay for services that you did not even benefit from. So I think, and this is not the first time that the federal government will be talking about banning discourse from estimated billings and what have you. So why are we still having issues? Why are we still having problems metering the people? Because if the meter is costing this much, I see, electricity workers being the ones that will benefit from it, because next to the allegations of corruption among the police, ranks and file, I think those of electricity workers is also very known to all Nigerians. So honestly, unless we want to continue to suffer Nigerians, I don't see how we can achieve that with the current policy.
The Student Loan Act now, the new one, the new version, the revised one, is effectively a law now. Where do you stand on this? Because we don't know whether it's to celebrate, because operationally we still don't know when it's going to take off. And it is one thing to sign a new piece of legislation, it's another thing to actually say that it is fully in effect. What do you make of this back and forth, this whole student loan thing?
Well, I also saw the president trying to explain that nobody will be made to drop, from higher institutions and all that. But honestly, maybe we are not channeling, we are not like drumming the right arguments. Not everybody must, go through universities and what have you. If you have, a very good job market, things that people can do and earn a living, right now the rush to get certificates is actually because you have limited the space to those who have degrees and what have you. And this is the reason why you see people going to Cotonou to get certificates that they cannot even justify or defend. So honestly, the president, well, some will say it's a good thing, but the part of it that some people are even being threatened that if at the end of the day you're unable to pay, there are some consequences and what have
jail
you.
time.
So honestly, I don't know whether to celebrate also or to mourn.
I think it was a caller we got last week who said, I don't want my children to jump into these things and go and incur debts that will then become a burden for me. Well, let's look at the banditry number coming out of Amstrada, the number of displaced persons coming out of Kaduna, 289,000. In some of these states, these numbers are bigger than the number of persons who voted the governors into place. And this situation is not going to abate any soon. If anything, we are beginning to see these guys becoming daring and daring, now coming out in broad daylight to effect havoc and further displace people. What do you think we can do to begin to cut down on these numbers of internally displaced persons?
Well, right now politicians are trying to make the most out of the publicity part of it. Handling it, tackling it is something that is probably not still not on their radar, because if you are talking about close to 300,000, honestly, it's not about the number. You need to see the people that have been affected, because if you are talking about the number, probably some may say, okay, it's even not so much. But by the time you start reading about those people, honestly, you will know the level of problem that we have on our hand. But like I said, our politicians, that's our leaders, should also find a way of tackling these issues. It's not when something like this happens and then they will be rushing to get publicity, like front page pictures and what have you, because they know the next day the newspapers are likely going to
move on to
other things. So honestly, we need to find a balance.
So have we come to a point where, for instance, if on account of the failure of states that we have this number of people moving into destitutions, that the state starts paying them, would that detach them from making this, if they have to take on some kind of payment or bills for having this number of persons displaced from their places of abode?
Well, the question will be whether that will be possible, because right now the few workers that states have, they are not able to pay their salaries and what have you. So by the time you add this into the mix, honestly, I don't know what will happen.
In Nigeria, don't put your life in the hands of the government. There is no guarantee that it will be looked after in the most effective and appropriate way. But as much as we love to explore other developing stories like the devastation in Taiwan and other stories, we're going to have to end the conversation here for now. Thank you, most Kalima and Nasser, as always, for joining the conversation and for giving us your perspective.
Thank you for having me.
All right. This is where we wrap things up for today's edition of the program. I can see that smile that I always see on Sundays.
You don't want
he doesn't have to
anything.
make a TV appearance for the next 5 days until next week. But of course, Daybreak returns tomorrow live and exclusive on Trust TV at 8 a.m. Until then, my name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Good morning.
I'm Sunday Michael Ogu. I don't want to be misinterpreted, so it's goodbye for now.